Hello, you guys. My name is Jay,
And I'm Takara.
and this is the J&T Show, where we talk about all your economic needs and stuff like that. Now, what are we talking about today?
Well, today we will be talking about the economy on a large scale. More specifically, macroeconomics.
Yes. And now, what is a recession? I don't think the public knows about this.
You're right. I don't think they know about it
Maybe
either.
we should check. And that's why we're going to pass it to James and Tyler, and they're going to
The streets.
Hello, my name is James, and this is Tyler. We're joined here with today. What's your name? Natalie. Okay, Natalie. Now, what is a recession, Natalie? It's about GDP, man. That sounds totally swell.
GDP.
What's the actual meaning of GDP?
Actual meaning of
recession.
GDP. Recession?
Yes,
Or
recession.
GDP? Okay. A period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified by a fall in GDP.
That was long and convoluted, but how do you feel about this, National?
I don't know, man. Okay.
What if I told you we're in a recession right now?
Right now?
Right now.
No way.
You're gonna die.
That would suck.
It sucks? Yeah. How do we fix this? How do we fix this?
I don't think you can.
Probably just like make everybody happy, I guess.
Make everybody happy. That's the only way to do that. Otherwise,
Keep the peace.
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 Okay, we got Naturally here, president for 2016. What's her campaign slogan?
I don't really do presents.
She doesn't do presidency. That's what makes her good. That was what makes her great. Make America great again. Recession! The end is near. Back to you, main channel.
I don't think that's quite right.
Yeah, I don't either.
You know what? There is two ways in which the government can control the money.
There is. What are they?
Fiscal and monetary policy.
Okay, first of all, we're going to talk about fiscal policy. But before we talk about that, we must talk about business cycles. Now, the expansion is basically when we're having rising GDP, and we're slashing unemployment rates. And then this is known as growth. Our economy is growing. But when we reach the peak, that's basically the cap on all the growing that we can do. We have maximum employment, and then we also have our highest GDP. And there's only one way you can go from the top, and that is down. So that is known as the contraction, where we have lower GDP. People are starting to fire their workers because they've realized that they've grown a little bit too much. They need to cut back. And then we reach our lowest level, the trough. That's when we have our lowest GDP, and we also have our highest unemployment. It's the lowest level we can get to. But back to fiscal policy. Now, when we're in a contractionary period, things are not doing so well, we enact an expansionary fiscal policy where we lower taxes and we raise government spending. This helps new jobs to be created. Also, it gets people training through, government programs and things like that. Plus, our GDP starts to increase. The only problem is we accumulate debt, which is called the deficit. Now, when we are doing really good, say we're in an expansion, reaching the top, the peak, we don't want to reach the peak. The peak is bad. So, what do? We enact a contractionary fiscal policy where we raise taxes and we lower government spending, which puts less of people's money in their hands. We take some of that money out, they stop spending as much, and that way we can kind of put a halt on, the economy as a whole. But what is this other ominous figure that's standing in the background trying to keep our economy on track? Well, that would be
The Feds, the ones who control monetary policy. Now, before I dive straight into monetary policy, we should start with what monetary policy focuses on. And that is, of course, money. Wahahaha. Let the money rain on there. Yes. Now, in our economy, money has three different functions: medium of exchange, unit of account, and store of value. The last two may seem kind of complicated, but I promise you they're really simple. For unit of account, let's say you go into a store and there's a pair of jeans that cost $10. But you also see that the shirts are on sale for $5. You wouldn't say that a shirt is one half the price of jeans, even though technically, mathematically anyway, you would be correct. Now, in the case of store of values, basically it's that a seller will take money from a buyer today, and in the future, he will use that money to soon become a buyer himself for a product or service. Now that we know how money is used in our economy, we can jump into how money affects our money supply. Now, the people who are in control of the money supply is the Federal Reserve, the Central Bank of the United States. They have 3 different ways in which they control the money supply. That will be open market operations, discount rates, and reserve requirements. Okay, so in the case of open market operations, what the Feds would do is tell bond traders to buy bonds from the public. And when they buy bonds from the public, that means they're putting money into the hands of the public, which thereby increases the money supply. And it also works vice versa. So if they want to decrease the money supply, what the Feds would do is tell bond traders, hey, we need you guys to sell bonds. That way you guys are taking money from the public and it's out of their hands. So we're decreasing the second method in which the Federal Reserve uses to control the money supply is reserve requirements. The higher the reserve requirement, the less loans the public are going to be able to receive from the banks. In that case, that means we don't have as much money within our hands, which means a decreased money supply. And vice versa. By decreasing the reserve requirement for banks, that means the banks are able to make more loans to the public. More loans to the public means we have more money in our own hands. The final tool in which the Federal Reserve can use is called discount rates. The higher the discount rates, the higher the interest rates the banks must pay for their loans from the Federal Reserve. In that case, they're not going to want to give us any money, so we have a decrease in money supply. And once again, it works the same way the opposite. Lower discount rates means lower interest rates the banks have to make, which means we can get more loans. Now that you guys learned about fiscal and monetary policy, I believe it's time for us to wrap it up with our new young artist, Young Fiscal.
Fiscal. Fiscal, fiscal, fiscal policy! Oh, and monetary, monetary.